Yeah, so the reason why I call it slamming it is because we just get in and do whatever we can to get that response turned off. We're not, like I said, we're not focusing on doing therapy in there. We're not, understanding events, working with events or anything. We have a goal, switch off or complete that arousal cycle and get out of there, and then do your hypnotherapy. So basically for me, 100% of the time, I will do golden thread in the first session. Okay. Because there is going to be a time when they start getting emotional. Maybe once a blue moon, a person may not have emotion, but like I said, when people come for hypnotherapy and they're paying good money for hypnotherapy, they're not coming because everything's perfect. They're coming because there's stuff going on. And if there's stuff going on in their lives, then there's got to be stuff underneath that driving it. We don't suddenly become anxious for no reason. We don't suddenly get a fear for no reason. We don't, suddenly hate ourselves for no reason. There's always underlying stuff that needs to be cleared. Yeah, so you could just get in there and do it.
Justine, have you had any situations where you've taken someone back and they say they're a 6 or 7-year-old and they've said, I just want to, what do you need? What does your child need? And they've said just that they're going to be okay. And then if you say, tell your child that now, has anyone ever said it's not okay? And so you've tried to make them look at their lives into the future and they've not had a great life, and so it hasn't worked out?
No, because you're doing therapy there. Okay. So basically all you want to do is stay in that moment. So if you drift into the scene and you say, what do they need to know, and they say what's happening to you is not okay, then I would get the kid up out of the scene instantly. Okay, bring them up out of the scene. Yep. I want you to imagine a cord attached down into that scene, drawing all of that stuff. I don't want to know. I don't need to know. Yep. Draw it all out of you and get rid of it. Wash that scene away and then work with the child. Now, what do they need to know? And it's usually they need to know that they did nothing wrong. Okay. They need to know that, so if they say any answer that would give you a hint that there's something going on that's not okay, just get them up out of the scene straight away. And do the work from up there. Because remember, like I said, your goal is only to switch off that cycle. Your goal is to complete that cycle. And if it means getting the kid up out of the scene, pulling it out of their body and changing it, bringing in light so that you don't have any content at all in it, just do whatever it takes just to get that feeling out of the kid's body. Once it's out of the kid's body, it's all good. What you don't want to do is therapy in there. The minute therapy comes in, it's activating the conscious mind, so that feeling will go away. Where we need that feeling to be there. Yeah, it did remind me of saying something just then, but I think it's gone. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I did have one situation, and this is what I say. This is quite an advanced technique because sometimes you need to draw on your toolbox. So I had a lady, and she came in. This was my lesson in not using the word spiritual, because I say airy fairy now when I come to like things like past life regression. I don't say spiritual, because I had a lady come in, and she said, I asked her if she was spiritual. And she said yes. And I said, oh, you'll love doing past life regression and stuff. And she looked at me and she said, we only have one life, and that life belongs to the Lord. And I was like, oh shit. I said, yeah, totally it does. Oh yeah, so what do you do? Oh, that's well, I used to go to this church, so I totally switched it, so she had no idea what I'd said before, because I don't want to wreck the rapport. So we're masters in words, so I managed to switch that around. Now, so I knew then that she had a religious belief. So we were doing weight loss, and we went back to her being something like, for the feelings that she had around her body, she went back to being 2 or 3. And I said, give your younger you a hug. No, I hate her. And I was like, okay, why is that? You know, and so we worked through some stuff. Something creepy just flew past. And I said to her, well, let her know that she's perfect just the way she is. She's not perfect. She's ugly. Look at her here. You know, and I was like, wow. And so in the end, I said to her, look, who's telling her this stuff? Because at 3, you don't know you're ugly. At 3, you don't know you're perfect. At 3 years old, you're just a little kid that knows basically nothing about that kind of stuff. Who's telling her? And she said, oh, it's her sister. I said, right, okay, let's put a cord between her and her sister. We cleared the shit, cut the cords, and then got her to look at her younger self again. Just put the light through her, and then I asked her again, you know, are you ready to give her a hug now? So that's when I say we carry other people's words like a energy. I even call it a thought form, or even like an entity being held within us. So if someone else says yuck words to us, we manifest, we take them on, and then they become an energy in themselves. So we have this voice in our head saying, you're dumb, you're ugly, you know, sitting with us almost like an attachment. But anyway, so we ended up clearing the feeling out of the child and getting her to like the child. But when I drifted up and put her into the child into her heart, there was still really not a nice feeling there. So I got her to, what you can do when a feeling is still there, sometimes it's different, as I got her to see a version of herself now and do the same thing, be there with her. And what does she need to know? And she just looked at her and said, she's useless. Like, she shouldn't even be alive. And I was just sitting here thinking, fuck. Oh. And so I said to her, because I knew that she was religious, I said, I want you to imagine that there's a light coming behind you. And you know this light. You pray to this light. And I want you now to imagine that, I think I was talking about Jesus, that he steps into you and you see yourself through his eyes. And what do you see? And she burst out crying. And she had that shift, which was, what the hell am I doing? You know? And so we managed to get that shift, and the feeling was gone, and she came back in her body. And it was a very spiritual experience. But because we'd had that conversation earlier where I kind of nearly stuffed up, I knew that I could play on her religious beliefs to create that change. That's why I said you need to sometimes, but like I said, that's about the only time I've had that experience. That was pretty interesting, but that was shifting the feeling. But yeah, when you got going back and they won't even accept or like the younger self, is pretty full on. Yeah. So sometimes you have to kind of just do whatever you need to do to create that shift. If the feeling's still in the adult up above, but it's out of the child, what usually that suggests to me is that the conscious mind has kicked in, and that there's something going on now in their life that they believed was causing the problem. So if we were working on a feeling that was going on and we went back to the past and they ended up being 2 or 3, say they were having issues with their parents, which was causing distrust, a feeling of distrust, and maybe they came to me for relationship help or something. So say we follow that feeling back, it goes back to 2 or 3, the parents are fighting, we clear that feeling out of the child, drift them up out of the scene, it's gone, put it in the heart, but suddenly there's still a bit of that feeling there. Then I'll know that, okay, so if their conscious mind believed that the problem was their relationship, then we need to address what's going on now. So what I did then, I think what I would do is, bring their partner into the room and do a bit of cord cutting or stuff that needs to be done there. When I do cord cutting for relationships, and there's a video on the platform, if I do cord cutting for a relationship and the people are still in that relationship, what I do is I attach the cord to both parties, draw the yuck stuff out of both parties into the cords, then we cut the cords of both, and then I'll get the light to come down on both people in the relationship and then go through their hearts and connect with the suggestions of your mind is now going to start remembering the reason why you chose to be with them and all of that yuck stuff. So that's how I would cut cords with someone where there's still a relationship or a connection there that needs to be strengthened. So we'll do the cord cutting, get rid of the yuck stuff, but then we'll come through and strengthen the relationship itself by connecting their hearts together, if that makes sense. Saying little things like, you know, when you walk into the room, you're going to start noticing that glint in the eye or that cheeky smile that they once gave you, and ugh, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yuck. Yeah, don't vomit when you're doing it with people. No, okay. Do you have any other questions? I understand, Susie, like the people that you're working with are going to be more troubled than if you're working with mental health people. So it's good doing this technique, because if you do any other solar regression, you're going to jump into stuff you don't want to jump into. Yep. But as long as you keep your focus on getting rid of the feeling, even if I said you do symbols and just keep it there, pull it out of the child, love into the child, wash it away. Same with you, Alex, if you do this on people that are suicidal, because Alex works in suicide prevention. If you clear the feeling and they go back and they have had a shit of a life, which most likely or else they wouldn't be where they are, your role is just to switch off that feeling, and doing that in whichever way you can in that moment, probably as quickly as possible, without having to get into too much stuff.
I just know yesterday that we asked the child to look at their future, and sometimes that future might not be that bright.
Yeah. I did ask beforehand, and this is really important. I don't normally do that. I did it yesterday too, because there was more than one thing kind of coming up there.
Okay. Yeah.
Feeling it shifted from one to another one. But I did ask, is there a time when she did feel that? So say we went back to that kid in school yesterday, and the kid felt alone or something like that. I can't really remember. Or didn't fit in. And then I asked, because for me, all I want to do is switch that feeling off.
Yeah. And
so we could have kept on talking all day, and it probably wouldn't have changed the fact that little girl didn't fit in that moment. So all I said was, well, was there a time in school where she did fit in? And then she said yes. Okay. And then I said, go there. So I asked first. I didn't just say go to a time where you fitted in, because there could have been a chance that I still don't feel like I fit in, so it could be a lifelong thing. So I asked first, well, is there a time that they did feel like, sometimes people would go back to a moment in school where they don't have any friends. And that's where I'd say, well, is there a time in school that they did have friends? Yeah. Okay, go there now. How do you feel? Oh, she's happy as, feeling's gone. Sweet, up out of the scene. Yeah, you'll kind of get the gist. Once you start doing it, you'll realize that if your focus is getting rid of the feeling, then you'll get very clever at getting rid of the feeling, and for the therapy side of things, if they did go back to a time where they hated themselves or stuff, then that in the therapy that you're doing with them, that you're going to put self-love in there, self-worth, in the in the hypnotherapy stuff, in the modern suggestive stuff, you're going to be wanting to put a lot of stuff about self-love, self-esteem, self-worth, which you're going to do anyway. But what they say to their child, you can make a note if there's anything that really stands out that you could, and you wouldn't talk to them about it. You wouldn't say, oh, when we were doing that, you said this. You don't want to mention it to them, because you've actually changed their perception. The part of them that was searching doesn't exist anymore. It's gone, that feeling. So what we don't want to do is start talking about something that they probably won't understand or remember. It's quite likely they'll go, oh, I can't believe it. I never been there before. I didn't even know that happened. But the rest of it will be a blur. They might not remember everything they said to the child. They might not because it happens so quickly, you're in and out. Like I said, the most I've ever spent in. And some people do start turning it into a therapy session. So from there, they'll go forward to this time and back to this time. And I think if you're experienced at regression and you've trained in the old school regression and you're very, very good at it, then, you do it. If people want to do that, they can do whatever they want. But I think it's best to split it, because when you come out of the golden thread and you open your eyes, you're a bit like, what just happened? Holy shit, right? You guys would have experienced that. You're like, what the hell? You actually want that what the hell moment. You want the client to go, what was that? Because I have never, ever, you know what I've done? Like I said, I've done thousands of people for weight loss, and not everybody loses 10 kilos in 5 weeks. Some people might lose 2 kilos or 3 kilos. I have never, ever had someone come to me and tell me, well, that was a waste of time. I only lost 3 kilos, ever, because the shifts that they've had doing this clearing is so huge that the weight's not an issue anymore, because they know it's moving and they know they're feeling better. So they don't come to me and say, well, can I have my money back? Because they're just like, well, my life has completely changed. And it might not be that area so much just yet, because sometimes things have to leave in people's lives. They might be, if we're doing weight loss, but they're still in an abusive relationship, the body's not going to give that weight up. It's not going to. It's a protection for something that's real right now. Or if someone's in the lady that I was on the Herald for that lost 50, she's now lost 60 kilos. She didn't start losing weight for 4 months after our sessions. We did the sessions. She felt really good. She got the confidence. She was working at a supermarket with a narcissistic boss, horrible, like really messing with her. Her food cut down to nothing. She felt better, but her weight didn't shift. And then 3 or 4 months later, she finally left her job. Boom. Didn't make any changes. Her body was right. I'm safe now. And all the setup was in there. And she was away. Lost all the weight. And she sent me so many clients, it's not funny.
So would you think, sorry to interrupt, but because I'm working with a client that on weight loss, and her husband is a raging alcoholic, like drives drunk, gets pulled over by the police in front of the family, that sort of stuff, really bad stuff. And I just sort of feel that she's got blocks. She's not going to shift the weight.
Well, you are. She is going to shift the weight now, because what you'll do the weight loss that you learn on Thursday.
Yeah.
The first thing you'll do is you'll get her to close her eyes and so what we do with weight loss, what we're going to talk about is, does anyone here want to lose weight that hasn't done the...
I'm already losing a lot of weight. But
well, I'm not doing you then, Marissa. I'll do you, Deb. Deb, put your hand up first. I can do, actually, you watch what I do with Deb, and then you guys can all do it on each other. Whoever,
Okay.
when you're doing work, if you want to do this, then when you go into pairs, you can do this. I'm just going to demo it on. Okay, so this is what you're going to do, Emma. But like I said, I'll teach you this when we do weight loss. What you'll do when you see her next is when she comes in and she's stressed out and talking about her husband, you'll say, close your eyes. Where do you feel it in your body? You'll clear the feeling she has around her husband. So now her husband's going to go off and do things, and she's not really feeling it anymore.
Ah, right. Gotcha. So clear that out of the way and then do the weight loss.
And then do what I'm going to show you now. But if he is an immediate danger to her and her body is using it as a protection, then you'll have trouble. But if he's in a danger to himself and she's just worried about him and stressed out about him, and then you clear the feeling she has around him, it's going to go back to childhood. It'll calm her nervous system down. And then you'll do stuff related to weight and you will start seeing a shift.
Okay.
So weight loss, from what I've found with hypnosis, it can be okay to help people with food and stuff, but most of the time you don't get good weight loss until you clear the reasons why, because it's not food and exercise. Okay, so Deb, closing your eyes. I want you to imagine that you're standing in front of a mirror naked. What words come to mind? And I want you just to throw them at me. What words come to mind? You're standing in front of a mirror naked. Go.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. What else? Gross, did you say?
Yeah. Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Hate.
Hate. So when you say these words, embarrassed, gross, disgusting, hate, where do you feel that in your body? Embarrassed, disgusting, hate, gross. Where is it sitting?
In my chest.
In your chest. What does it feel like in your chest?
The big lump.
Big lump. Okay, so focus on that big lump. Just focusing on that big lump as I count 1 to 5, making it stronger with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now attaching that golden thread to that big lump that goes all the way back into the past. So the very first time you felt that big lump, when you're there, letting me know. Following that big lump back to the very first time. When you're there, letting me know. Drift into the scene. Is it daytime or nighttime?
It's daytime.
You alone or in company?
Company.
And how old?
6 months.
6 months. And what's giving the little 6-month-old the feeling?
People, lots of women laughing at
Okay.
the baby.
Okay. So what I want you to do now, Deb, is I want you to drift into the scene. And I want you to pick that beautiful little baby up and give her a hug. What does she need to know to completely let this feeling go? What does she need to know?
She's so loved.
Yeah. So let her know that. Let her know that she's so loved. What else does she need to know?
She's supposed to be the way she is.
Yeah, let her know that she's supposed to be the way she is. Let her know she's perfect. What does she need to know about those people laughing?
They don't mean to be mean.
Yeah.
They love her.
How does she feel hearing that?
She understands.
Yeah. And what happens to that feeling when she understands?
It's gone.
Beautiful. So take that baby and drift up out of that scene and just bring her into your heart. So that little baby is with you always. And I want you to wash that scene away. And now let me know what's happened to that feeling in you.
It's gone.
It's gone. Beautiful. So now what I want you to do is drift into the future past today. And let me know what's different about you now that that feeling's gone.
I feel really open.
Beautiful.
Really happy.
Open and happy. Awesome. So just feel what that feels like, open and happy, and bring those feelings back into the room. And opening your eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what we do with weight loss. But what you do first, it's really interesting. So when a client comes into the room, they'll start talking. You know, they'll start talking. They'll talk about their day, and an emotion will come up, or they'll start talking, or I'll get them to start talking from childhood, and then suddenly they'll say my parents left when you know, when I was 6 or something like that, you know, and then we'll clear that feeling. And then what I do is I just check to see whether that is the weight loss one. So once we've done the talking, I'll say, hey, close your eyes for a minute. I want you to see yourself naked in a mirror. What words come to mind? And they'll suddenly say, oh, I'm okay. You know, I don't mind what I see. I do need to do some exercise, but I'm fine. And then they'll open their eyes and they'll be like, holy shit, I hated myself. And so I know that the feeling that came up for a different reason was the one that was tied into what was going on with their weight. So yeah, and so when we want people to lose weight, it's very, very difficult for people to lose weight dieting when they hate themselves, because the message that they're giving themselves is I'm fat, I'm ugly, you know, all of that kind of messaging that's going into the body it's almost impossible for them to shift weight when the messages they're telling themselves are the opposite, you know. So once you shift that, Emma, and whatever other feelings come up, make sure that there's one really important thing that also with the golden thread, that you just do the golden thread when the feeling's there. You can target it like that for weight loss. You can target it for anxiety. Close your eyes. Can you bring up the feeling of anxiety? Yep. Where do you feel it in your body? Where do you want that to go? You can target it. But what's best is for it to happen authentically and not to make it. It's so fucking incredible. Like, you can get so excited with the golden thread because you just get changes. But it's really important to pull back and not focus on it and still do the therapy, because suddenly you can want to go and golden thread every feeling that comes up with the client, and then you do too much. And so I have had experiences where someone said to me that they had a client come to them, I don't know what town it was, and I don't know if it was the golden thread or whether they were doing a different type of clearing, but this person wanted weight loss. And in the first 3 sessions, all they focused on was clearing and didn't say or do anything about food or weight loss stuff. And so they ended up leaving. So the clearing is cool when you do golden thread, and you know that's what's going to create massive change, but you need to do what the client wants. If the client wants to do gastric band, you do gastric band. I get better results not doing, like, I don't need to do gastric band for people to lose weight, because I know that they're losing weight now because we've cleared the reasons why the body is holding it. But the gastric band is so popular that people want that. So you've got to give them what they want. And if you don't give it what they want, is their conscious mind going to go, well, this is not going to work, it's not going to work, and consciously eat to make it not work because I wanted the gastric band, you know? So you've got to give people what they want, and that's the hypnotherapy. So what's that?
Sorry, would you do the gastric band straight away and not worry about the golden thread then?
No. So I'm going to show you the program. It's 5 sessions for weight loss. You work with the person. You do the gastric band in the second session. But this is just for any kind of therapy. If someone comes in and they're wanting, you know, they want to feel more confident around people and, you know, all of this kind of stuff, you know that when you bring up the feeling that they have when they're around people and we slam it, the next time they go around people, they're not going to have that feeling anymore. So we know that we've already sorted that feeling out. And we understand how it works, but they don't. So we have to do hypnosis on, I want you to imagine yourself now, you're going around a crowd of people, how are you feeling? You're feeling confident. We've got to do the therapy after. Even though we know that once we've cleared the feeling, most of the work's done, then we've got to lock in the future for them. So even though it's exciting, try and stick to just doing it once, and try and let the feeling come up on its own.
So when you, with that picture of the baby that you had with the different colours, with the pale blue and that, so with that first memory that you just, that when I just went back there then, that alters all of those.
The whole line is gone. Yeah, because like I said, we're not working on the events, and all of those squares on the baby are events. But the feeling, because I drew lines, the feeling started as little, and then in each event, the feeling got bigger and stronger. And because we're not working on the events, we're working on the feeling. If you stop the feeling at the start, the whole feeling goes. So it's different to if you're working on events. And like I said, if someone wants to work on an event, say they've had a situation and they do want to talk about it, say they've gone through trauma, unless you are someone that's like Susie or Marissa or whoever works in mental health, and the job is to actually sit there and hold that space for people to talk things through. If you just want to be a hypnotherapist or hypnotist, then that's when you actually work with them in the way that you're working. But if they want to work on an event and talk through it, do all that kind of stuff, then there's people that are actually there that will, for free, if they've had trauma, do 12 sessions of working and taking events apart. And this is more explicit memories. There are techniques we can do to to, you know, kind of numb events and stuff like that. But I found that once you do golden thread, you don't need to, because when they do look back at events, they know that they've happened, but the emotional feeling that comes in with them, which is actually affecting them, isn't really there anymore. And all that counts is, we can't change the past. So all of the shit that happened for the client has happened for the client. We can't change that. And it's more about just getting them to move forward from today without it actually affecting them, so that they can create a new future without having to live in that stuff. And it's the feeling of that event that keeps driving them back thinking about it. Because if there was no emotion attached to it or no feeling attached to it, their mind wouldn't even drift back there, you know, unless someone actually mentioned it. And even then it'd be like, oh yeah, you know, because you'd be focused on now and what you want. So when it's more about just clearing the feelings in the body at the moment. But yeah, like I said, I have had people disclose to me that, and I'm the first person that they're told they've had abuse, and they want to start talking to me about it. So when they do start talking, I'll let them talk, because I'm the first person they're told. You got to stay pretty neutral with them and not go, oh, holy shit, can't believe that happened. Far out. You poor thing, you don't do anything. You're just going to stay neutral and hold the space for them to talk, and then say to them, you know, I really think, you know, you could use probably having someone to hash this out with. You know, it'd be good for you to find someone, and even if you know people in your area that are counsellors that you actually trust, and even better, could do a bit of hypnosis. There's so many counsellors and psychologists now that either have done our training or do forms of hypnosis or EDMR. You know, if you know a couple of people in the area, then you can actually shift the people on that just want to talk. Yeah. So there, yeah. Okay, so have you guys got any other questions, GT questions? Right, I'm going to go through it again, and then we've got 11 people, 2, 4, 6, 8. 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. What am I doing wrong?
Deb's not here, but Robin is.
Yeah, but if there's 12 people, including me,
Yep.
Now take me out, there's 11 people.
Yep, correct.
Which means there should be 5 groups of 2 and then 1 left over.
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't work that out when I was doing it. So me and Robin, well, I'll keep you out and we can chat about stuff. Yeah. I'm going to quickly go through this again. I'll just share screen. I'm usually really good with numbers, and then adding up things at a supermarket and stuff. And then you have times where your brain just doesn't bloody work, which is a lot of the time too. I'll just get this Hypnosis New Zealand dashboard up. Log in. I did have this ready. I must have closed it when I was looking around. Golden thread. We'll just go through the steps again quickly. So the emotion comes in, you guys are going to trigger it. So for the people that did want to do weight loss, just do what I did and bring up the feeling that they have around their body if they picture themselves naked. So the emotion presents themselves. Close your eyes. Where do you feel it in the body? Get a word for it, a feeling and where it is. Bring it up from 1 to 5. Attach the thread to the feeling. Get them to go back to the first time they felt it. The stronger the feeling, the quicker they'll go back. If for any reason they're finding it hard, just ask them, what's that feeling with you in school? And that will give them a bit of a pinpoint. But let them go, because some people go really quickly, some people go really slowly, but it's just the way they do things, like with finger signals. Get them to drift into the scene. So we've got the client here, they've got the feeling, we've brought the feeling up, we're taking them back above, we're going into the scene. Daytime, nighttime, alone, company. In a few words, what's giving the feeling. And then get the older self to drift into the scene, give them a hug. What do they need to know? 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 Smash that out. Do the chords if you have to. Do whatever it takes to get the feeling out of the child. Once the feeling's cleared, drift them both up out of the scene. Put the child in the heart. Wash the scene away. Double check to make sure the feeling is cleared from the adult. 9 times out of 10 it will be. If for some reason it isn't, make sure it is the same feeling and not a new one. If it's a new one, you can choose to go from there, attach a golden thread down and clear that as well. If you really did want to, if it's a new one, it's up to you. If not, you say, write down, okay, where's that one? Okay, we'll sort that one out later. I want you to see if the other one's still there. And they'll get a no, and then you're going to the future without that one. Once it's gone in the adult, get them to drift into the future, see themselves below, what's different about them, drift into the scene, get them to talk to their future self if you want to, see if there's anything they want to share. If you were working business, if you were doing something like weight loss or business, you can say, hey, why don't you just ask them what they did to get here? They might say, oh, I see myself in 6 months, I've got this really good business going. You can say, hey, what are some steps? What's the first thing they did to get here? Oh, they created a website. Sweet. Okay. Can you see what the name of the business is? If they don't have a name, they're like, yeah, it's called this. Okay, cool. So you can get information there. Then you merge them into the future self so they can really feel that future. And then you bring them back into the chair, get them to open their eyes and check with the eyes open, get them to check what's happened to that feeling. Okay. So pretty much trying to keep it as straightforward and simple as possible. Like I said, worst case, if you're struggling to get the feeling out of the body, then do the symbols that you learned in the diploma. Just pull a feeling out and change it. Get rid of it. But usually you don't have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. Who feels okay doing this? Put your hands up if you feel okay practicing this. Half and half. Emma, what do you think? Are you feeling all right?
I'm okay, but I just
Gotta do it.
nervous. Yeah.
Gotta do
I
it.
like to see someone else do it on me, and then I get that confidence, and then I'm right.
Okay, so I'll butter you up with Marissa again because she's done a similar thing before. She's done a lot of regression before. So I'll chuck you together.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. I like to go second if I'm a bit unsure.
Yeah.
And I go first, Annette.
Can I go with Deb, because I feel comfortable working with, not that because I know her. And
yeah, so Linda and Deb. Who feels quite confident? Who's ready to go? Yeah. Oh, Lil, I'm going to put you with Annette. You've done this stuff a million times. Okay, now make sure you guys that Robin, are you going to learn more from talking to me, or are you going to learn more from just watching it? Because you've had an experience day.
Yeah, because I've done golden thread heaps with Caroline, so we should maybe have a chat first.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm going to open rooms now. When you go into your room, there's a place where you can put your hand up.
Okay.
And if for some reason I don't come, actually bring yourself out and say, hey, Justine. And then I can put you back in the room if you need help. Okay? But you'll be fine. Okay, there you go. Have fun.
Thank you.
How was your holiday?
Oh, amazing.
When did
Freaking
you get back?
amazing. Last night.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, I haven't taken a break like that for 4 years.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Good, eh?
Yeah, need to do it, eh?
Yeah.
So bad not to do it.
We're supposed to be going in January the 1st, but it will all depend on what the world's doing. If everyone's in red and shit like that, then
Yeah. Are you going down to Queenstown?
just the whole thing. We're just taking
Oh.
the van down. We've got to be on the boat at 9:30 in the morning on the 1st of January.
Wow.
Coming back on the 10th or 11th or something like that.
Hmm.
It's going to mum and dad's, and his family's all down there. But yeah, we just put the bikes on the back of the van and we just go wherever we kind of want.
Yeah. It's the best thing to do. It's just like just getting to see how amazing it is down there. You know, I've done the tour with Ewan before for work, but you just don't get to stop anywhere, you know.
Yeah. I did it 2 or 3. Another boyfriend, we took a ute down and we did it in about 4 or 5 days, the whole down
Yeah.
one side and back up, and we just slept in the truck apart from one night in a Triton with the seats pulled back. It was very uncomfortable. But I mean, shit, you know, it's like, for me, it's like, well, let's just go somewhere. Fuck, we don't, you know, it doesn't have to be expensive. The boat was, but we can just sleep in the car, take some sleeping bags. It sounds all right. It was fine for me, but the boyfriend had a bad back because
no.
and he's like, oh, my back. And I'm sitting here thinking, fuck, I can see why people date younger guys. But anyway, you're never a younger guy bitching and moaning, but you do get a bitching from a granddad.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So what I did over the last few days, and we'll have a catch up, is I kept off the golden thread because I wanted you to be a part of that. So I did go through it. There's a video, I'm going to put it up today if you watch it. I slammed, I think 5 or 6 people in a row.
Yeah.
And they all kept on going to deaths. So it was like passing people over to the light, in the end, after doing 5, I was like, okay, guys, we're having a 20-minute break, and I actually had to go. So I did take some air because it was like slamming. So I did that 7. What else did we do, which is really cool? I've got all the videos I'll put up. Let me see. So you'll be able to just go through and watch them. We did this.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I've filmed pretty much everything. We did this cool thing yesterday, which is a positive regression, because we were talking about regression and what it is.
Yeah.
And you'll see it in the video, but it's, here it is. Where's the script? I don't know if I sent you guys a script or whether it's in here. What you basically do, I'll just share the screen so you can see it, and it's in your book, is so say if someone, because you work mostly with weight loss or whatever, say if someone wanted to feel more confident, wanted to feel healthy. So if you had someone come in, right, and when they were a teenager or whatever, they were a good weight.
Yeah.
Up into their 20s, and then the shit hit the fan, a bad relationship or something happened, or their body changed the way it was, you know, processing trauma. So it went from being an anxious, skinny person to putting weight on.
Yeah.
But they say to you, oh, you know, I felt really good in my 20s or whatever, then, and they want to feel more of that. So say they wanted to feel more confident or they wanted to feel healthy, then you can do what's called a positive regression. And not many people do it, but it's so freaking good. I'll do it on you.
Yeah.
So what you do is you do an induction, just a normal induction, whatever. We've been doing the Almond in this one. Oh, I need to teach you to do that subconscious stuff. Fuck, that was so cool. What I'll do after Golden Thread is we'll go through and just have a practice of all the things we've done in the last few days.
Okay.
And then you'll get to experience it. But so basically from this place of relaxation, so we've done an induction, we've got them up out of the body. Notice that there's a long line going all the way back into the past in the front of your long future line, almost like timeline. From this place of floating and drifting, I'd like you to bring up the feeling that we were talking about, the one that they want: confidence, love, joy, even if it's they want to feel healthy again, or they want to feel sexy again, whatever it is that they want. to bring up the feeling that we're talking about. Now, most people can bring a feeling up. So, you know, even if they're feeling shitty, close your eyes. Bring up the feeling of sexy. Most people want to get a feeling that they've had before, not something new. So what you want to do is get them to bring up that feeling. Now, if for some reason they can't bring up the feeling, then you just ask the mind to take them back. And then what you do is you get them to look down and follow the golden thread all the way back to the very first time they felt that feeling. So what will happen is that part will drift and float back to that time that they felt the feeling. Give me a nod to let me know when you're there. So instead of targeting negative feelings like we do in the golden thread, what we're doing is we're targeting a positive feeling. When you get into that scene, just like when I was talking about safety, you're watching the videos with regression, it's really important that we don't move out of the scene, even when we're doing positive, because, you know, we might drift into the scene. It's a birthday party. They're feeling amazing. You know, I'm opening presents. But, you know, 5 minutes later, someone might break their present and then they feel shitty. So it can turn from positive to negative really quick. So you actually stay in that moment. You get them to drift into the scene. Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Are you alone or company? How old are you? What's happening to give you this feeling? You know, notice everything around you, the sights, the sounds, make that feeling stronger, turn that feeling all the way up. So we're strengthening that feeling. Then what we're going to do is we're going to attach the golden thread to that feeling and take them to another time that they felt that feeling. And we're going to lock it in. So the pathway where that feeling is stored in the brain is really weak, right? It hasn't been used for a while. So what we're doing is we're firing it back up so it's really there. So we're taking them to another scene, same thing, daytime, nighttime, how old are you? What's giving you the feeling? Notice everything about that place, turn that feeling up, making it even stronger. Then we're going to do it again and take them to a third scene. And we're going to really pump that scene up. We're going to make that really strong. And then when that's locked in, what we're then going to do is we're going to get them to hold on to that feeling and we're going to throw them into the future. So it says here, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Strong the feeling is. Now I want you to imagine drifting forward into the future, all the way forward to where you want that feeling. Or if we were doing weight loss or feeling good about ourselves, I want you now to take that feeling and go all the way forward to when you've reached your goal with that feeling. And then we're locking that feeling in. And then, of course, we'll drift them into that scene, get them to really feel it, and then bring them back into the room with that feeling. So it's when we're talking about positive and negative feelings, and you probably know what the roles are. So when we give people more positive emotions, they're more open to constructive criticism. So the more positive a person is, they're more likely they are to take advice. The more positive feelings they have, the more connected they feel to people, which is what we need. There's so many things that they're more likely to get out and do stuff if their brain is, if there's more positive feelings going on. So if you're wanting someone to get out and exercise and walk or do that kind of stuff, the more positive feelings you can bring in, the more likely they're going to do that. The negative feelings keep people trapped inside physically in the body. It narrows their attention. It closes them off to new ideas. They won't listen to any advice. They won't even see ways out of their situations if their brain has got more negative. So by doing this, locking in, then when you do give them advice and suggestions and things to do, they're more likely to do it. What you can also do is anchor that feeling. And I think we did do a bit of anchoring in the diploma, where once they're in that scene and that feeling's really strong, you could put a signal like touching the finger and thumb. You could really anchor that feeling in so that anytime they need that feeling, they can really lock it in. It's just a nice, like I said, I do the golden thread, or we do the golden thread with people, but we don't do old school regression where we go through scenes. And there's lots of reasons for it, but for me, it's not safe for people to re-experience trauma, and there's no need to, because All we need to do is change, the way the body responds to events. We don't need to go through events. So this is really just firing up those pathways. And you can see that you could do this with quite a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And they could even learn to do it themselves. So this is a really cool thing that you could, even if you were wanting to do a demo with, in a group, and you wanted to do a demo on someone, if you've got your group, this is something quite cool to do with people.
Mm.
I'm just going to